This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta, and my guest today, perhaps the only prince to hold a serious government office, Capt Amarinder Singh, Chief Minister of Punjab. Welcome to Walk the Talk, old friend.
Yes, nice to see you again also.
Friend, fellow traveler.
Well, it's been so many years that we've known each other, ever since you were a young reporter in Chandigarh.
We were all young at some point, yes.
Yeah.
You managed to stay young.
I don't know how, because I do everything that I'm not supposed to do. I eat too much, and I do very little exercise. So if I'm looking young, there must be some sort of...
If we can get you to detail all the rest you do that you are not supposed to do, maybe our ratings will go up even more. I said perhaps the only prince with a serious public office. I was thinking maybe the only one, except Vasundhara, of course, but she's a princess, not a prince.
No, but there was Madhav Rao Sindhya,
not
who
now.
would come, not now, of course, unfortunately. But well, for me, it's been a follow into the footsteps of my father, then my mother. I came into Parliament after she left and held the same seat, so it's just worked into it. And I think one gets a lot of satisfaction feeling that you can do something.
So where are you more at home? At the palace in Patiala here or at your official residence in Chandigarh?
No, well, I try and come here because this is not only my home but also my constituency, Patiala city. But I spend the whole week in Chandigarh. And if I can get away for the weekend, I come here. If not, then I'm out in the field.
Because I think the slur generally is that all of you are Patiala da kakas. The boys from Patiala who tend to run just 1 hour away by car, by helicopter, whatever. But
Me? No, not at all. Not that way. I mean, I try to come, as I said, because
but
it is
you
my
heard
home.
Patiala de kake.
No, I've not heard that. That has been said?
Oh, you're hearing from me all right.
Okay.
I can keep a straight face.
Really? But no, I do because I think one naturally wants to come home and meet your own people and be in your own constituency from that angle. Otherwise, one is quite kept on one's toes from early morning to late evening. So that one doesn't get much time to get away.
You've done many things in your life. You've been a prince when you could officially be a prince, right? You've been a soldier in very eventful times. And you've been a politician, again, in eventful times, through the phase of terrorism in Punjab and all the upheavals that went through, and now in opposition, then now in power. Which is the one that you consider the most interesting or exciting?
I think naturally the first profession you choose, that's your first love. And the army was my first love, so I enjoyed that very much. I had to leave then because my brother was in the army too, and my father had gone out as our ambassador, and my mother was out. So, I had to leave, which was a sad day for me, but I suppose that's the way life goes.
And you were there in very interesting times. You were ADC to General Harbakht Singh in the 65 war.
That's right.
So are you following the new revelations that are coming out now in the history of the 65 war?
Well, these are various matters because I write too, and I read a lot too.
Well,
so one knew so much having been with the army commander at that time.
Even if I may say it to your face, I think you're one of our best military historians right now. Your book on Kargil, your book on the 65 war, the stuff you've written later is very good.
No, I think, for a young officer who was learning his profession and being at such a place, in those days, the command headquarters was a very small place. We had about 7 or 8 staff
This is the
officers.
65 war.
65 war.
Very interesting, it's now being looked at exactly 40 years later.
I think that's the way history is. It really went.
Although we never looked at 62 like that, but 65 somehow is becoming a more transparent war.
I think because, nobody, in 62, the problem was allowing the official documentation and all to come out. It's still sort of classified. But in 65, everybody wrote.
Right.
And articles appeared, and then, of course, books appeared, and then General Harbakht Singh's own book appeared.
But your own general has been one of the most prolific writers, late General Harbakht Singh.
Well, of course, he wrote his dispatches earlier, and then now his own memoirs in Line of Duty. And, he was one of those, and the entire 64 war was fought in his area.
65, yeah.
So, I beg your pardon, 65, right from
basically the Western Command fought in that war.
the whole of Kashmir, Ladakh, right down to Punjab, right down Jammu, Kashmir, Rajasthan, Kutch. Kutch was also ours in those days, and now there are 4 commands there.
Right.
So we had.
Kutch was also ours as in the Western Command.
Sorry, yeah, Western Command was ours.
Now it's in Southern Command.
Southern Command, Northern Command, and now
So
they've got
tell
a
me something
Southwestern
about those
Command.
days. You know, now there's a lot of controversy about what exactly happened. Pakistanis, Gauhar Ayub has claimed somebody leaked secrets to them so that they knew exactly what Indian Army was going to do in 65. Then Noor Khan has now said that Pakistani army got it wrong. Pakistanis think it was a victory. We think it was a victory. Military historians say it was a stalemate. Tell me, the closest, since you were ADC, the ADC to the general, the closest we came to disaster, the closest we came to good news in that war.
I think the closest we came to disaster was not so much as people believe after Asal Uttar and the Khemkaran and the knowledge that Pakistan had a second armored division tucked away from the Changamanga forest which came through that area. That was not so much, that's more dramatic. I think the disaster which we just avoided was the Cham battle. Had Pakistan not changed this division and halted the battle for 24 hours while they pulled out their 7th division, I think it was, and put in 10th division under Yahya Khan, he would have taken a Knut Bridge. There was nothing holding it back. There was a Pulton or two on the ground, that's all, battalions, and then one tired squadron with Bhaskar Roy of 20th Lancers, which was fighting a rearguard action. They would have been, they had been in action for 72 hours non-stop. So they were dead beat. And that 24 hours gave us time to build up forces there.